The superstars. They claim all the glory, fame, and awards. But when they're giving their speeches, they remember those that made it happen, the role players. They are the players that win or lose games. Sometimes it's the pivotal games, the ones that could have changed the whole course of a series. But when it's all over, we forget about them. Today, I decided to share 3 heroes that went above and beyond during the playoffs. And that's because my name is Rotimi. I love basketball, I love to talk basketball, and I hope one day you can share that same love for basketball as I. This man is known as the clutchest player in NBA history, and there's a reason for that. Big Shot has 7 championships. That is more than Kobe, Mike, and LeBron. In fact, he's tied 3rd for the most in NBA history, and only 9 players have achieved this feat. He was instrumental for the Rockets, Lakers, and Spurs, all in crucial moments. I would argue he turned up bigger than their stars. And we're not just talking any stars, we're talking a Tim Duncan, who is widely regarded as the greatest power forward of all time. Or Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, a two-way menace who shook defenders in the post. And finally, Kobe and Shaq, the greatest 1-2 punch in NBA history, who went on to three-peat in the early 2000s. Anyways, there are 8 main playoff shots that he did take, but I'm going to pick 3 from 3 different teams. To start with, in 1995, the Houston Rockets were up against the 1-seeded Spurs. Heading into that series, they were the underdogs. They were the 6th seed, and they had made their way to the Western Conference Finals. Down by 2, the Rockets had 24 seconds left on the shot clock to make a difference. And after swinging the ball round and round and round, it fell into the hands of their superstar Hakeem Olajuwon, who drove towards the basket but then decided to pass the ball out. He faked the pass, sent his man running, and hit an open 3 to send San Antonio home. You see, after that series, they went to the NBA Finals where they faced the Orlando Magic, and he hit another big shot there, right? But I love this shot because he's a second-year player. He sent a man flying with some skill, and next thing you know, he's hit that open 3. Stylistically, it's a better shot for me. In 2002, he found himself on the Lakers, and they were down 2-1 in the Western Conference Finals against Sacramento. With 11.8 seconds left, the Lakers were down 97-99, but the ball was in Kobe's hands. Driving to the basket, he puts up a shot. Missed. But then the ball fell into Shaq's hands, but he missed. Vlade Divac, the opposing center, decided that he wanted to knock the ball away to win the game, but the ball fell directly into Rob Horry's hands, and just like that, you know what happened. The series was tied, and the Lakers would go on to win the NBA Finals. Now, why is this such a big shot? This is a huge shot because he swung the momentum, and it's just another example of where he shows up when his stars didn't. Kobe missed the shot, Shaq missed the shot, Horry made the shot and won the game. 1 second, guys, I have an announcement to make, and that is for all UK basketballers. I am hosting a 2-on-2 tournament, and if you are interested in a chance to win £1,000, hit the link down below. For the San Antonio Spurs in 2005, they were playing the Detroit Pistons, the reigning champions. The Spurs were down by 3, and the Pistons only really needed to focus on one player in this moment. However, they left him open. They double-teamed Manu Ginobili, and an open Horry was on the wing. And you can guess what happened. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in NBA history, because up until this moment, Rob Horry had hit 6 playoff big shots. So why the hell would you leave him open? It doesn't make any sense. Well, just looking at those 3 moments alone, you can understand why you shouldn't deny this man's greatness, even though he has no MVP, no All-NBA, and he's not even a Hall of Famer. But he has 7 championships and 8 clutch playoff shots.
Fate of the universe on the line, or the Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth, you better hit it. I want Iguodala.
Others recognize Andre Iguodala for this moment.
Picked off by Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala to the rim. Oh, great block!
But Warriors fans will never forget him for this moment.
This year's Bill Russell MVP, Andre Iguodala.
In 2015, the Warriors would go to the NBA Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Andre Iguodala would win the MVP over Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and an MVP Curry, but also an overperforming LeBron James, or so it is said. And he did this by guarding LeBron James in the playoffs with his defense. It meant that they didn't need to double LeBron, and it reduced the amount of open shots that LeBron was able to create. But how is it that a bench guy became the ultimate glue guy for a championship dynasty? The glue guy is a player that fills in the gaps. During shooting slumps, they generate offense. Other times, they can be players that are plugged into the starting lineup to change the way that teams play. But on this occasion, he was plugged into the starting lineup to take on a tougher defensive assignment to rest the stars. Andre Iguodala was once an all-star two-way wing in 2012. He even took up the first option mantle early in his career. But he soon started to shape into the glue guy role as the Sixers got better. And once he got traded to Denver, this role was solidified. However, in the offseason, he would decide to join the Warriors, and his role would change. He joined them for less money, and he would come off the bench. In a young Warriors team, though, that was fine, because they didn't need him as a starter. They were good enough without him. That would change, though, when they faced LeBron James in the finals. The Warriors were down 2-1, and LeBron was averaging 40 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Steve Kerr had tried everything, but he had not inserted Iggy into the starting lineup. And just by doing that, everything changed. LeBron's productivity would drop dramatically. His scoring would go from 40 points to 30 points, and his field goal would drop under 40%. His three-point percentage even dropped to 27%. This allowed the Warriors to win the next 3 games, and that meant the NBA championship, all thanks to Iggy. Since then, they have won 3 more, which again couldn't have been done without Iggy. Some would even say that in their most recent championship, Iggy came in clutch. I believe that he's been clutch for them the whole time, and that's why I can't blame Max Kellerman for saying,
I want Iguodala.
Kenny Smith, also known as the Jet, a man whose knees bend inwards and we worry for every time he runs to the board. Hard to almost believe that this man once even took part in a dunk contest. His success was so long ago, and we now just see him as another player who played alongside Hakeem Olajuwon.
Hakeem Olajuwon used to say this to me all the time.
Can it bring me some water?
No, he used to say, Charles is really heavy.
But what if in fact I told you he was instrumental in the 1995 NBA Finals? Let's rewind. In 1995, the Rockets finished as the 6th seed and were not the favourites to win, even after winning the previous year. The team was led by Hall of Famers Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon. And Kenny was the starting point guard, averaging around 10 points, and was maybe at times the 4th option. But he was really known for his spot-up shooting behind the arc. Entering the playoffs, they were far from the favourites, and every round for the Rockets was tough. Back before the first round series became a best out of 7, it was actually a best out of 5. And so in the first round, they took the 3rd-seeded Utah Jazz to 5 games, playing against a Malone and Stockton, who were the most cohesive 2-man duo in the NBA at the time. Then, in the second round, they would go up against Charles Barkley and the Suns, taking them to 7 games and beating the 2nd seed. Once they got to the Western Conference Final, they would then beat the 1st-seeded Spurs in 6 games and make it to the NBA Finals. If you ask me, this was truly a historic playoff run. We're talking about a 6th seed that beat the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd seed to make it to the NBA Finals. In the finals, they had to play a young Orlando Magic team, led by Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway, who were raging to get their first championship. It was the old school versus the new school. And to start the game, the Magic were having a great game. Shaq and Penny were looking like an unstoppable tandem. And to keep them in the game, Hakeem and Drexler were doing their best to balance them out. Both team stars were showing up, and this was going to be a battle between the role players. For the Orlando Magic, it was Nick Anderson. He has scored over 20 points and made 4 out of their 9 threes to make the difference. But for the Rockets, Kenny the Jet Smith showed up. Throughout the game, he was hitting shots after shots after shot.
The line. Here's Smith.
And with 10 seconds left in the 4th, he had hit 6 threes. That was a tied finals record for the most threes in a game with Michael Jordan. But they were still down by 3, and heading to the line was Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson needed to make one of his 2 free throws to put the game out of reach, but he missed both of them. And then by unimaginable luck, Nick Anderson would get his own rebound, then get fouled and have a chance to make another 2. But again, he missed. Just like that, the Rockets called a timeout. They were 3 points down and they needed a shot if they wanted to stop themselves from losing game 1.
So Smith looking for the three. He's been on fire and hits. He's tied the game.
Kenny then hit his 7th free. They would close the game out in overtime, winning game 1 and begin their 4-game final sweep. So the next time you see Kenny the Jet Smith on TNT, put some respect on his name, because he was the first player to hit 7 threes in a finals game, let alone to make his 7th and send the game into overtime. It's a shame to say that these players may soon be forgotten for what they had done for their teams, simply because they were overshadowed by greatness. The greatness of Steph Curry, Tim Duncan, Kobe, or Shaq. But I guess it doesn't matter if we recognize them. It's about whether or not the stars and the teams remember. Because the real ones will always know just because your role isn't to be the star, it doesn't mean that you can't be the reason that your team wins. And with that knowledge, don't forget Kenny the Jet Smith, Andre Iguodala, or Robert Horry. Thank you very much guys for watching this video. If you did like it, drop a like down below and leave a comment actually. I'm interested to hear what you think or who you think is actually going to win the NBA Finals. I believe the Mavs are getting there and they're going to beat any other team. If you disagree with me, you can fight me. But what I'm going to say is, until next time.